Hello and welcome everyone to the summary of turn 9 of my solo playthrough of Armies and Alliances Arnhem 44. As you can see, the Germans are well ahead and it's almost impossible that they're not going to achieve a very big victory in this game. I did commit quite a few errors with the Allies, that I probably wouldn't commit again, but this is the first time I've actually had an entire playthrough of this game. But when I finish playing, I'll tell you a little bit about the mistakes and the lessons that I've learned. So I'm using these green chips to denote 10 extra victory points. So the Germans have 20, 30, 40 victory points at the moment, and the Allies have 23. So they are pretty far ahead at the moment. I'll show you a couple of things that happened on this turn. As I told you at the end of turn 8, the Germans still blocked the road here because the reinforcements came into play here, and they once again blocked the road, cutting off supply to most of the Allied units. The Allies attacked this German unit and they actually destroyed a step, but then it retreated. It was initially in this village and it retreated this way, and then on the German turn it moved back into this hex. It went around a little bit because you can move from Zoc to Zoc, but then it went here. So there's still blocking the road there effectively. What happened here on the Allied movement phase is that I moved a few of the artillery units from the road to a hex adjacent to the road. Now what does that do? It's very important for supply, because then you can trace supply to the trail, for instance, and then from that trail to the road here to the supply point. So then they're suddenly in supply, which they would not be if they were actually on the road. So that's what I did to a couple of units here, and I believe to these two as well. The reason these were already in supply is that these are hexes with both a road and a trail, so then you can choose not to use the road but to use the trail, and then you kind of get the same thing. You follow the trail all the way until you get to the road, so then you're just fine. So basically the supply rules are, if you start on a road, you have to stay on a road. If you're on a trail, you have to keep tracing that trail until you reach a road. And if you're not on either, you have to get to one of the two, but you can, and then the same thing just applies that I mentioned just before. Now, what else happened? So here are again those units that I was talking about that can trace supply because they're not tracing via the road initially, but they start using the trail. On the Allied turn, well, so there were a few attacks over here. They also, I believe, attacked one of the German units here, which had some support, but it didn't cause much effect. On the German turn, basically the same thing happened here. The German units marked with a ping pawn attacked this unit over here. Note that it's out of supply, so out of supply units defended -1. This unit here bombarded some of these German units that were initially here, but to no avail. What else is worth mentioning? Over here there were obviously still some attacks going on, but not too much happened. This is interesting. I left it here for now. During the Allied resupply phase, so when you actually drop the supplies, this one ended up in hands of the Germans, in possession of the Germans. So obviously I should have removed it already, but it's just a reminder to show you that's what happened. So they lost it. Actually, all airborne artillery units were very low on supplies. On the Allied turn, some of these units that are out of supply still managed to help defend against certain attacks. So this units, for instance, help defend this unit against this attack here. Even though they only roll a 1, well, they don't roll a 1, they have a combat factor of 1 when they're out of supply, but they can still defend, not attack. Same for this unit, but it helped defend against this attack. And in this attack, the Germans actually lost a unit. They did have artillery support from one unit themselves, but the Allies actually had two, and they probably rolled better. Over here, not too much happened either. The Allied rolled very well. The airplanes, by the way, that you still hear, that's pretty interesting, the way the combat works. There were 3 German aircraft here during the air phase, and just 1 Allied one, but 3 times in a row the Allied fighter rolled higher, so it actually destroyed all the German units. Not that they should have been removed from the board a long time ago, but this is just a reminder for myself that I wanted to mention that. So that's how air combat works, that even if you're really much lower in strength, you can still beat a much stronger opponent, a superior opponent, because every die and roll happens separately. Here, the Germans actually did manage to destroy a step from this Allied unit, and then it retreated. So the second step chose obviously not to be destroyed, but to retreat a hex. These were the cards that were played on turn 9. And I actually posted a question on that on Board Game Geek, because these 2 cards, well, they actually cancel each other out in this particular case. I'm not quite sure if they last for the entire game turn or not. Well, these do, but I'm not quite sure if that means that you can't play yet another card, because normally you can only play one, and this one is already in effect, so to speak. So that would be interesting to know what the designer has to say about that. So there's one more turn to go. I will actually see it through, but it's actually, well, as I said, it's practically impossible for the Allies to still do anything. They will probably remove this German unit, but the road is still being blocked here as well, so they're certainly not going to be very effective, and they almost certainly won't be able to make it anywhere across the, which river is that? I believe it's the Vaal River, and they need to end up here. That is 30th Corps units. Airborne don't even count. They need to make it there to score points, or here, but not the airborne units, mind you. They do not score any points for the Allies. 30th Corps units would, so the units that actually enter the board from here. So that would be all the British self-propelled artillery, normal artillery units, tank units, and these infantry, as opposed to the airborne infantry that look different. So, as I said, it looks pretty clear cut how this scenario is going to end. But as I said, I'll see it through anyway, and then I'll post a brief review of the game and some initial impressions and the lessons that I've learned from this playthrough. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.